So I did an appraisal yesterday for this guy, and he calls me this morning and starts grilling me about the market because he wants to sell his house. So I did a fair market value appraisal, and he called me this morning and wanted to know about the market and the typical questions that I've been getting asked lately by everybody. You know, are we going to have another 2008, 2009 situation?
Are we in a bubble?
Are we in a bubble? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed with myself because I didn't have my notes. So I started blurring out all this stuff. And I wish I had recorded it, the conversation. Sure. But I was like, damn, I should record it. But yeah, so it's actually things that we're going to talk about today is that's a common question right now is, are we in a bubble? Are we going to have the same situation as we did in 2008, 2009? How the rising interest rates are going to affect us and all that stuff.
It's an interesting time to be in real estate.
I know it is. It is an interesting time. So it's a sort of an unprecedented time because what we're going through now, what we've gone through past 3 years has never happened. No. Right? No. At least 2008, 2009 kind of happened back in recession of 29, but this has never happened where we have rising home prices, rising employment, not unemployment, employment, and rising interest rates, rising
everything else.
Everything else, exactly. So it's just weird. It's just a weird time.
It's a crazy time. And it's also funny just to know that I've been having a lot of the same questions, you know, like, hey, what's going on? You know, how much longer do you see this going, you know, going to be happening? Are we at the peak? I mean, all we can do is look at the data and try to figure it out. I mean, I feel like right now is a pinnacle time for sellers to possibly sell at the peak of the market. You know, days on market are going up and the amount of offers we're receiving is coming down. So there is definitely a shift there. But that being said, the prices are still going up and we have new comps every day that support a higher price tag. So is it worth waiting another, you know, few months to see how much higher they are going to go? Or do we go ahead and jump on the bandwagon now and go ahead and sell and capitalize on it?
So obviously we're not, you know, soothsayers or, you know, we don't have the power to predict what's going to happen in the future. If I was able to do that, I'd be a very rich man because I would have bought all the homes that you know, became available.
Yeah. Even like 2 years ago.
2009, 2010. Yeah, exactly. Even like 3 years ago. Based on our experience and knowledge, history tells us that the home prices are going to keep going up and the rates are going to keep going up. I had a conversation with one of my buyers the other day. He said, hey, I put my home search on hold because I'm waiting for the rates to come back down. I said, I don't think that's going to happen, especially with inflation being so high. The Fed is trying to fight the inflation, and one way to fight the inflation is raising interest rates. And you know, I think the days of interest rates being in the 2s, 1s, 2s, and even 3s, I think they're way past us right now. And you know, who knows what's going to happen in 10 years from now? Maybe we'll go back to lower interest rates, but as of now, I think the interest rates are going to keep going up until we kind of subside this whole inflation. And I actually read something the other day, yesterday. You know, inflation. They're telling us inflation is 8.5%, which came down from last month. Last month was 8.9%. But the true inflation is near 18%.
Oh, wow.
Because if you compare what you paid for groceries last year to what you pay for groceries now, if you compare what you paid for a car last year to what you pay for a car now,
gasoline,
you compare for what you paid gasoline, compare what you paid for anything,
everything,
right now,
milk,
I mean, eggs. You pay, absolutely.
But the problem is the fact that where, you know, now all of these people there don't have as much, they're not going to have as much money to put down, right? Correct. Because their cost of living is going up at such a rapid rate, right?
Yeah. It's like everything has gone up, cost of living, interest rates. So the typical buyer's buying ability is gone down. You
I
know,
think you're
uh,
pretty much spot on there
mhm.
because even like the dollar store is no longer the dollar store. It's like a
No, it's
dollar
not.
25 store, right?
I know. It's
It's crazy.
crazy. I think obviously with the lack of products, the supply chain issue, that doesn't help either, right?
I think there's a lot
Uh,
of pressure right now on builders to build. And
mhm.
I just don't hope that that doesn't have a backlash effect, 3, 4 years from now when all of a sudden, tides have changed and now there's a bunch of extra inventory and nobody can afford it, right?
I I don't think so. I don't think so because we're so far behind in
We are
inventory because after 2008, the real estate downturn, we basically stopped building.
yeah.
A lot of builders went out of business.
Yeah,
They
I
couldn't
worked for a
afford to build.
builder in
Exactly. So
2008, 2009, and they stopped. I mean,
yeah.
they stopped at like foundation. We had a whole entire street of
Mhm.
houses that had stopped at foundation trying to sell off the extra inventory.
Yeah, I mean, look, think back how many new construction sites you went past, and all you saw was just pipes coming out of the ground,
Yeah,
no houses, right?
exactly. No houses,
Because
yeah,
the builders started building, they cleared the ground, they prepped the ground, but then market crashed,
yep,
and many of those builders went out of business, or they got bought out by somebody else. So I think because we stopped building new homes because of the crash, we're so far behind with building with inventory that it's going to take us a while for us to catch up with
yeah,
inventory.
I
So
agree.
in my opinion, I think maybe 6, 7, maybe 10 years uh, is going to take that long for us to get up to the par level for housing inventory.
We'll have to make a note of that and go back and check in 10
We're
years,
recording this, so
right?
yeah. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be because still now, although we're seeing a lot of new construction homes, I don't think we're building at it as rapidly
No,
to keep up
they're
to
still
keep up with the
struggling with
demand.
supply chain
Yeah,
issues and things like that. And you still do pay a premium for new construction,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
especially today. I've seen some builders now who actually will float a purchase price until 30 days before close. So that's a whole nother realm. It's not the lock in the price today, it's the price, what's the price going to be once you actually purchase?
Absolutely. Exactly. That's true. And so think about it 30 days from now, as rapidly as the interest rates have gone up since January,
Yeah.
what's going to happen in 30 days when they actually going to
Yeah,
buy the
because if
house?
you actually started construction at the beginning of, let's say, like 2020, right? Right when
Mhm.
the pandemic hit, if you were going under construction with a builder then, you were actually gaining that equity the entire time that the house was being built.
Absolutely.
And you actually walked into a nice chunk of money. And those comps are actually then hurt the builders because of the fact that the prices have been accelerating so much while the houses were being built.
Absolutely. Yep. So I read an interesting stat the other day that 40% of all homes in US are owned without a mortgage.
I've heard the same stat. Yep.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
which is
there. I mean,
crazy.
we've had a lot of cash buyers and we've had a lot of,
Exactly.
people putting down a good decent chunk of money in order to win, right? Because that's what's winning the offers today too. So I think
Um,
that's definitely going to help with the whole crash syndrome, that whole myth out there.
Absolutely. That's we're going to get to that in a second. But going back to what we're talking about, um, I don't think it's worth it to wait.
No,
Um, and you know what? A lot of people are waiting for foreclosures to happen. Like,
yeah,
oh yeah, with all this stuff going on, there's going to be people that are going to be foreclosing on their house. I don't think so. I don't think we're going to see. Now we may see one or two or three, but we're not going to see the foreclosures in the same rate, same degree as we saw in 2010, 2011.
correct. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, people are sitting
because
on a lot of equity, so
absolutely,
why would they walk
another
away from that?
another stat I read is that almost half of the home's value, average home's value, is equity. So if you have a median sales price in the Atlanta area is 350,000. Of 350,000, half of it is equity, because the prices have gone up, the values have gone up so much in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, homes have appreciated over 20% since
We're
2000, since
Yeah,
2008.
so I ran the same stats for Nashville, and we're sitting at like 25 to 28%.
Good God. Yeah. So
And some of
um,
it's pocketed. There's some pockets of, further south in like the better like school districts and things like that, more
mhm,
desirable communities. We're
mhm,
seeing appreciation of like 32%. I mean,
yeah,
it's been really, really
that's
high.
yeah. So I don't think we're going to see as many foreclosures
I agree.
as everybody thinks we're going to be getting, and is sitting and waiting to take advantage of, for
So
sure.
this has come up quite a bit here in what I've had conversations with several people about REITs, so real estate investment trust companies coming in
Mhm.
and buying lots of inventory. Are they still doing that in the Atlanta market?
Yes, they are. Yeah, especially in certain price ranges. I think
Yes.
I think a lot of um, individuals in real estate trust are coming up and gobbling these homes, and the reason is because they know that the values are going to keep going up. The prices are going to keep going up.
So
There's,
at what point do you think that they're going to stop buying?
I think, once they see a big slowdown in the market, which we haven't seen. We're still sitting at less than 15 days on the market in
Yes.
a, in
And they
Atlanta,
are very
in Atlanta
specific on what
area.
they're looking for,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
here in Nashville, I get text messages all the time like,
So do
yeah,
I.
big investment company. We're looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car
Yeah.
garage built after 2015, priced under 400,000 is what they're looking
And
for.
the reason that we're looking for that type of home is because the rental is so
Yes,
much better in those homes.
yes.
You can rent a home with that specifications a lot easier and for a lot more money than a home built in 1980s, 1960s, or whatever.
True.
You also get a better quality of renters in those
Yes.
homes, right?
Yeah.
Which is
And
which is
also
what
you think of like the appliances and
yeah,
the roof
exactly.
and all of the mechanicals,
You don't have to spend much
if
money on those, right?
no, if it's
Nope.
all within that threshold,
Hmm.
and only, under 20 years old, then yeah, you're that's what they're looking for, and that's what they're coming in and snatching up.
Yes, you're gonna see a lot more real estate investors coming up and gobbling up the homes that are less than 400,000. Especially, it's been true here. I mean, we've been battling it for past certainly for past year.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why many of the buyers who are buying with financing are getting
And
outbid.
trying to get in that same, those used to be like the entry level houses.
Yes, I know. Yeah, used to be the less than $200,000 homes.
Yeah.
So it's, if you're a buyer and you're waiting for a market to slow down, or waiting for foreclosures to happen, or waiting for something to happen in the housing market, I don't think it's going to happen. It's better to buy now, especially now that interest rates, they're higher, but they're not as high as they're going to get. And
No, and I think the loan programs are going to catch up as well. So
correct.
they're going to start having more alternate financing options. We've been so much on like the 30-year fixed run for such a long time. Now with the rising interest rates, I feel like that is going to shift as well.
And you hear all this negative news or clickbait news about how the housing market uh, is in trouble, or how prices are going to come down, or how whatever it is, high interest rates are going to result in prices come down. I think that's just all clickbait, and it's not true.
It's scare
You know,
tactics, right? It's
scare
what's going to
tactic,
make
right?
you click.
And dirty laundry always sells. So I think that's what it is. So that's what we're looking at. So basically, you got to get off the fence and get it done now, because you buy a house now, you're going to see the equity in 2 years, right?
Yes. Yes.
So it's not like we saw in the late 2000s, where people bought homes in the top of the market and then saw their value go down. I think
Like really quickly.
I think even if you buy a house this year, you're going to see a whole lot of equity, by 2025, 26. So let's answer the question that we're both getting about: are we going to see? are we in the same situation as we were in 2008, 2009?
100% no.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's just the supply and demand issue, right? So
Right.
back then it was the flip-flop, right? So there was so much supply and not enough demand. Now it's flipped and there's so much demand and not enough supply.
Exactly.
So it comes back down to the principles of marketing. So no, I don't think that we are in a bubble. I don't see a major crash at any time soon. I do see the market leveling out because of interest rates and because of the price points where we're going to. But I do not, no, it's not going to come to a crashing end.
So I wrote down 6 reasons why
Okay.
it's not going to happen.
Reason number 1.
Reason number 1 is that less than 10% of mortgages are adjustable rate loans right now.
Okay.
What killed us back in 2008 or 2007, 2008 was that many people were getting those interest only loans, the
Yeah.
LIBOR loans, where basically you just went in, no doc loans, right? You just went in and said, hey, I'm making $700,000 when you only made like roughly 70,
no income
70,000, right?
verification, no bank statement verification.
Nope. And you go buy these McMansions and way above your affordability and get those interest only loans. And what an interest only loan was, you got the loan, you paid the interest on it, and the principal matured at a certain time.
Yeah.
Whether it's 3 years, 5 years, or whatever. And then all of a sudden you had to pay this whole principal amount at a specific time. And obviously people who were buying homes above their means couldn't do that. They would pay the interest only.
Yeah.
But once the loan matured,
they're not touching the principal.
Correct. They couldn't afford it. That's what resulted in all the foreclosures. People realized, hey, maybe I did go over my head with this house.
Number 2.
2 is that, as I said before, 40% of all homes are owned with no mortgage.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. I mean, it's 40% of all homes. Back in the real estate downturn, this wasn't even close. As I said, people were getting interest only loans, or they were getting some type of a loan to purchase their home. Once the prices dropped and you were upside down on your loan, then obviously you couldn't sell your house for what you bought it for.
Exactly.
Which brings me to my next one, that the home values have appreciated over 20% since 2019 in the past 3 years, right? So there's a lot more equity in the house. So even if you had to sell your house for some reason, you're still above water, way above water than when you bought it.
And you have the option to sell it at any time. I remember back like
Correct.
the crash, you didn't have enough equity in it to even sell it. So you had to come to the table with.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you were
or
underwater.
do a short sale. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So that's completely different than it used to be.
Absolutely. Number 4 reason is that the average interest rate on a home is less than 4% now, because many people took advantage of the low rates and they refinanced, like me. They went from 9, 7, 6%, 5% loans to less than 4%.
Yeah.
Some people even got loans for low 2%.
Yeah.
So they don't owe as much money.
It's like free money.
It's like free money, exactly. And as I said before, one reason that contributed to the downturn in 2008, 2009 was because of the high rate interest only loans that people eventually couldn't afford. Number 5 is that there are only over 1 million homes in the U.S. with upside down loans right now.
Okay. Do you think those are the forbearances coming out of COVID?
Well, that's another point. I don't think those are forbearances. But these homes, only 1 million out of let's see, how many total homes are in that?
Like, I have no idea.
a lot of them.
A lot of homes.
So this wasn't true back in the real estate downturn. a lot of homes were basically upside down. That's what
That's
led
what drove
to
it.
the
People just walking
foreclosures.
away. Yeah,
Yeah, they're walking away exactly because their home was worth less than their loan amount.
exactly.
And number 6 is that millennials and baby boomers make up the 2 largest home buyers percentage in America.
I found that really interesting. So I guess in a way, the move, and I was under the impression that it might have been like more of like the move up buyers or higher, but it kind of makes sense though too, because right now the baby boomers are cashing in and
Correct.
downsizing,
Mm-hmm.
and the millennials see the opportunity to make their basically, what was it? The average homeowner last year made $54,000 just on appreciation.
Exactly.
So these millennials are seeing that and like, oh, I actually have, if I can, like now's a great time to buy.
Absolutely. So the millennials, many of them are turning 30,
Yeah.
and many of them are moving up to the next level home.
Yeah.
And so, it's they're in it to win it as far as the home ownership is concerned. They have the money, they have the resources, and they have the drive to make it happen. And as you said, baby boomers are ready to go to the next stage of their life, and they're selling their big homes and they're moving to the retirement home or
Or
downsizing
multiple
from.
homes,
Yep.
right?
Or yes, or buying multiple homes. Exactly. And the reason they're buying multiple homes is because they have the equity in their house,
Yeah.
right? They
Yeah.
cash in on their equity that they built for past 3-4 years, and they're like, hey, I'm going to buy a beach house and retire on the
Yeah.
beach, but I'm still going to have
Why
my in-town house
Yeah.
for
By the family.
by the family, exactly, for my grandkids. So, and that's a luxury that they have right now. So those are 6 reasons why I don't think that we're in the same situation as we were in 2008, 2009. Just if for some reason, as we know that the unemployment rate is at its lowest it's been in a long, long time. That's another thing that contributed to the real estate downturn 14, 13 years ago. It was unemployment rate. People started losing their jobs left and right. I think unemployment was 7% or something really high. So people losing their jobs, that contributed to them not being able to afford their mortgage. And back then, people who couldn't afford their mortgage, the bank would give them maybe one reprieve, right? They call the bank, hey, I can't afford it. Okay, you can miss 1 month or 2 months.
Sure.
But the second time they called, or they missed 3 months, the sheriff was at the door.
Yeah. They were quick.
You got to go.
You got to get out.
And I think that kind of contributed to the foreclosures. Now I believe that the government has the banks have learned their mistake from last time. What I think they're going to do now is, if something happens in your life where you can't pay your mortgage, they're going to like lose your job. Call your bank, hey buddy, I can't pay my mortgage. Okay, when do you think you can do it? I lost my job, but I'm guessing I'm going to try to find another job next 12 months. The bank's going to say, that's fine. I tell you what, give us a call back when you're ready and able to do it. Meantime, we're going to put the missed payments to the back of your loan term and do the forbearance all over again, right? So you missed 12 months, we're going to move it to the back of your loan. So we're going to add 12 months to your loan, but meantime, rest assured you're going to be living in your house. You're going to be fine.
Because they don't want houses.
No, they don't. They don't.
don't.
No bank wanted to have a foreclosure on their hand in their portfolio. So yeah, I think that's another reason. I should have had 7 reasons. Darn it.
Oh,
Another reason why we're not in the same situation as we were back then.
I think that it's the market that we are in is definitely a lot different than even it was this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that it is a pinnacle time right now for sellers to consider selling if they can get themselves into another, purchase. I don't think that you should sell and like rent for a while. I think that's probably a bad idea, even though for some people it might make the most sense. Just because as soon as you take yourself out of that, how hard is it going to be then to jump back into it, right? But yeah, overall, I think you covered all of the main points.
So talking about that, that's a good point. Now we have a lot more choices at our disposal when it comes to buying and selling a home, right? The choices are that, let's say you find a house that you like and you want to buy it, but your current house hasn't sold yet. You can use different programs to get into your new home and then have time to sell your house.
Yeah.
And that one of the biggest, most frequent complaints or questions is, hey, I'm going to sell my house. Where am I going to go?
Yeah.
Well, start looking for your new home.
Now.
I mean, you have all this equity in your house right now. You can put a big, large down payment on your new home. Go start looking for your new home where you want to go to. Use one of the programs like Homeward, Zoom Casa,
I think
Ribbon. Use one of those programs. And of course, if you want to know more about those programs, talk to one of us. Use one of those programs to buy your new home and then have time to sell your house.
Yeah.
And then in that situation, you don't have to go live in an Airbnb. You don't have to go live in a rental home. You don't have to go live in a whatever, store your stuff. You already have a house to move into, and then
I think, and another thing we haven't touched on is the fact of the mass migration.
Yes.
Right. There's a lot of people moving because of, this is another coming off of COVID is people's ability to work from home. So all of a sudden they're looking at other states and things like that, where both of our states have benefited, right? Mm-hmm. Because we're in the Southeast. And so I think this mass migration has definitely opened up opportunities for people. To go to a new city and to, put down new roots and things like that.
Exactly. I think you're right. And that was another thing that I was reading about is, people who want to buy a home in a certain area and they can't afford it, like Atlanta, where, the home values have shot up so high. If you want to become a homeowner, especially as a millennial or soon to be Gen Zs, go buy a house somewhere else. Maybe go outside the suburban area where homes are cheaper, and buy a home there and establish your family there, because you can work from anywhere. You don't have to be tied down to your downtown office. If you're able to do it, go buy a home in North Georgia or North Tennessee or wherever the homes are cheaper, and establish your family there, and then once you build more equity in your house, come back, and if you want to come back to the city or come back closer to suburban areas, then you can do that at a later time.
It's a good point. It's a great point. We're seeing a lot of that.
Anything else?
No, I think we covered it all. I mean, we definitely have other subjects we can talk about and put them on another episode, but this one was really good. And just be careful, don't don't look too much into the headlines and things like that.
I think, don't fall prey to headlines, because headlines are there to sell commercials and sell ads, right? And as I said, the Eagles wrote, "Dirty laundry is the best thing." Everybody loves dirty laundry, and because dirty laundry sells.
Yeah.
And but if you're interested in learning the truth about certain topics, talk to the experts in that topic. Real estate, real housing market. Talk to a realtor who's in the trenches and
dealing with it every day,
researches the data and all that stuff, and talk to them about how things are going instead of listening to the headlines and to networks and to magazines and to all that stuff. And two of the best experts are right here.
There you go. Yeah, feel free to reach out to either one of us if you guys
exactly. So speaking of that, it's a good segue. How can people reach out to you if they want real estate help?
Sure. So I'm realestatekatetn.com is my website, and also Real Estate Kate TN on Instagram and Facebook.
That's great. And you're open 24 hours.
Of course. Always.
I'm Robert Masoudpour. You can get a hold of me at Masoudpour Real Estate. I'm going to have it put down here so you know how to spell it. Any questions, anything, and my website is path2sold.com. Go on there and reach out to me, and both of us will be able to help you out in our respective markets and get you going. But yeah, don't listen to headlines. Talk to one of us or talk to your realtor and get the truth about how the housing market is doing. Kate, as always, you're so awesome. Thank you so much for doing this again. And,
thanks for having me on.
Next time, we're going to talk about something happier.
Okay, good.
Like balloons and cakes.
Sounds awesome.
Right.
Thank you so much.
See you. Bye.
All right. Bye.
And another reason is that the what were we talking about? Then I said we have to talk about obviously this one's going to be
The baby boomers and the millennials.
No. Total value, appreciation. Dag nabbit.
I'm sorry.
You
just totally lost your train of thought.
Anyway, so